Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. Since this is my first video to be released in 2024, I want to wish everyone a Happy New Year. And before proceeding, I'd like to ask everyone to please like this video, please press the red subscribe button to support this channel, and please press the bell to receive notifications. Thanks! It's hard to believe sometimes that another year has come and gone, but time slows down for no one, including for people who think rather highly of themselves, such as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, also known as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, who, now as of 4 years ago in January 2020, walked away from their duties as working members of the British royal family to move into a $14.5 million mansion in Montecito, California. But since departing their duties as working members of the royal family, Harry and Meghan have spent most of their time complaining about the royal family and how allegedly miserable their privileged lives were while being waited on hand and foot by a massive royal staff catering to their every need. And their lives have continued to be miserable, but in reality, it's now purely of their own making. And as I had talked about in a video that I had released a few weeks ago on December 15th, even The Hollywood Reporter declared the royal couple to be losers in 2023. Well, now, according to an article that was published in the British paper The Express a few days ago, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are now facing being frozen out of Hollywood altogether and face a potentially very bleak future. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's negativity could cause them to face a Hollywood freeze-out as executives refuse to work with them, both royal and Tinseltown insiders have warned. In an exclusive interview, former BBC royal correspondent Michael Cole said, quote, "Americans have grown weary of them for bringing nothing but negativity to everything they touch. Over the past year, they have achieved little more than alienating themselves from the US public and the powerful media companies that employ them, as well as driving an even bigger wedge between themselves and the royal family," unquote. One thing that I have been rather befuddled by is Harry's display of total contempt and criticism for members of his own family. I don't think that he ever seriously considered the broader ramifications of his efforts to publicly humiliate them as part of his effort to make money from a once very interested public. Most of that interest and the sympathy that went along with it has faded because over time, people grew tired of hearing them complain, and that's pretty much mostly what they have done for the past 4 years. His comments come in the wake of recent opinion polls that show Prince William and Princess Kate are far and away more popular on both sides of the Atlantic, and follow Harry and Meghan being named among Hollywood's biggest losers of 2023. That stinging title was bestowed upon them by the widely respected industry Bible, The Hollywood Reporter, which excoriated them for their whiny Netflix documentary series, Harry's Whiny Biography Spare, and their inert podcast archetypes, which ended with them being fired by Spotify and branded effing grifters by one of the audio giant's bosses. PR guru and crisis management specialist Mark Borkowski declared, quote, "Show business is attracted to success and financial gains. Turkeys are only acceptable for Thanksgiving. There's speculation that the industry might be growing weary of their presence," unquote. He added, quote, "Something is beginning to unwind at the heart of Meghan and Harry," unquote. And he predicted, quote, "I think 2024 is going to be seismic, either because they are going to do something to recover and find a new positive tactic, or it's going to be the undoing of their brand. It can only go one of two ways. It can't stay where it is at the moment because it's clearly not working. The ongoing scrutiny surrounding the Sussexes isn't beneficial. It's a black hole. In Tinseltown, negativity isn't embraced," unquote. And that's absolutely true. Even Hollywood types get tired of it because it can eventually have a potentially adverse impact on themselves. Ironically, 2023 began with a gold rush for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex as their Netflix docuseries Harry and Meghan attracted huge TV audiences worldwide, and his ghost-written biography Spare became the fastest-selling nonfiction book in history, with more than 3.2 million copies sold in the first week. But they crashed into a metaphorical wall in May when they claimed to have been chased through the streets of New York by paparazzi photographers in a reckless pursuit reminiscent of the one that ended in the death of Harry's mother, Princess Diana. But the NYPD denied any knowledge of such an event, and many pointed out that, even at night, the streets of Manhattan are largely gridlocked. Quote, "People just feel like they're untrustworthy and melodramatic," unquote, said U.S. celebrity publicist Mitchell Jackson. Quote, "You can't be self-important and last long in America," unquote. And I had talked about this alleged New York chase scene in a video that I had released back on May 18th of last year. The bubble burst for real just weeks later in June when Spotify terminated their $20 million contract amid acrimony and accusations that prompted Jeremy Zimmer, the chief executive of United Talent Agency, to observe, quote, "Turns out Meghan Markle was not a great audio talent, or necessarily any kind of talent. Just because you're famous doesn't make you great at something," unquote. And I had also released a video about the termination of their Spotify contract on June 18th of last year. This remark is particularly stinging since the Duchess had signed for rival Hollywood powerhouse agency WME 2 months earlier with the remit to help remake the former Suits actress, in part as an online entrepreneur like A-list celebrities Gwyneth Paltrow and Jessica Alba. Last month, I reported how her new handlers are said to be exasperated over Meghan and Harry's missteps and misfortunes since she signed, including the release of their friend Omid Scobie's explosive book, Endgame. A rogue Dutch translation of the book named 2 senior members of the royal family as racists who questioned the skin color of their then unborn son, Prince Archie, who is now 4, and the resulting uproar has further inflamed tensions between Harry and his father, King Charles, and brother, Prince William. And clearly not helping matters, Harry and Meghan have refused to publicly condemn the book, in which they claim to have taken no part, despite an exclusive phone poll for the UK's Sunday Express newspaper earlier this month, in which a staggering 99% answered yes to the question, should the Duke and Duchess denounce Endgame? An American poll at the same time revealed Princess Kate is now more than twice as popular as her sister-in-law across the pond in Montecito, California. Kate now enjoys a 44% positivity score in the US, with William her runner-up at 36%, Harry at 28%, and Meghan last with a mere 21%. And that doesn't surprise me. Meghan Markle is not liked in the US. The results prompted pollster James Johnson of JL Partners to declare, quote, "Kate is the people's princess. That's the verdict of the American public. The Princess of Wales is their top-rated royal, and they vastly prefer her to Meghan, Duchess of Sussex," unquote. Both Prince William and Princess Kate are very likable, and unlike Harry and Meghan, they have stayed true to the royal family and to their duties, especially since William is the UK's future head of state. Former BBC royal correspondent Michael Cole said, quote, "America loves winners, not whiners. And through hard work and endeavor, William and Kate especially are making their mark. Meghan, meanwhile, seems to be lost in no man's land, while Harry is thought of as the little boy who is constantly sticking his tongue out at his family," unquote. That was just too funny not to laugh at. Mr. Cole added, quote, "I can only see a bleak outlook for them both if they continue to behave as they do. The one thing we know for sure is that in 2024, Harry will continue his high court legal battles over privacy against newspapers in the UK, while back home in Montecito, they both do precisely what?" The Hollywood Reporter must have thought long and hard before branding them losers, but that's how they are now perceived. They could find themselves completely frozen out in Hollywood, unquote. Movie producer Paula Froelich believes they are already being given the cold shoulder by A-list stars and high rollers saying, quote, "What people are nervous about financially is they don't want to take a hit because they're seen as friends of Harry and Meghan," unquote. She explained, quote, "Everyone in LA has a movie they want to premiere in London or a play they want to take to the West End, and the biggest draw in London is William and Kate. If they show up, which is not often, it gets a lot of attention. It gets international attention. It's reprinted all over the world. Nobody wants to be seen as friends of Harry and Meghan because it's felt that William and Kate will likely not show up, unquote. In other words, Harry and Meghan have transformed themselves into being liabilities to be avoided. Again, did they ever consider the ramifications of continually criticizing the royal family and talking ad nauseum about how miserable their wealthy lives are all alone in their $14.5 million Montecito, California mansion as they are waited on by their private staff? One way forward for Meghan, who popped up before Christmas in an online coffee commercial, is a return to acting following the huge and unexpected success this year of syndicated reruns of her old TV series Suits on Netflix, where the show topped America's download chart for 15 weeks. A senior Hollywood production executive said yesterday, quote, "Despite everything, Meghan has acquired a lot of new and younger fans as a result of the Suits reboot. There's no doubt in my mind she would command very high-end fees if she were to return to acting. But is that something she would want? And where would that leave Harry in terms of a working life? They aren't quite outcasts in Hollywood yet, but the door is closing and they have some pretty urgent decisions to make about where they head next," unquote. I must admit that based on their past behavior, I have serious doubts regarding their ability to remake their public image and attain some semblance of respectability. I started a poll, which I will link in the description of this video below, in which those of you who are subscribed to my channel can answer how likely you believe that Harry and Meghan will be able to turn their lives around in 2024. I'm definitely interested in seeing where the answers go in the poll, and I plan to do a follow-up video to talk about the poll results. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to everyone who has subscribed to our channel. We appreciate your support. If you enjoyed this video, please press the like button, and please feel free to share a comment. If you'd like to help support this channel, please press the red subscribe button, and please press the bell to receive notifications for new content. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Twitter by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.